Hey there, people. So why are we starting on this screen? Well, basically, it's to show you the hardware, that there's no trickery involved. I'm going to be starting with a stock, or sorry, not stock, a Stark empty system with the update installed. I'm not going to be showing you the install. There's plenty of videos that show you how to put the hardware in. This is the adding an NVMe SSD to the Wi-Fi slot. So basically you are going to be removing this M.2 Intel Wi-Fi Bluetooth module to install an adapter that's available on Amazon, which is M.2 to NVMe adapter and cable. That's what you search for, M.2 to NVMe adapter and cable. And this is the Patriot P310 M.2 PCI Gen 3 by 4. Now, normally this is a much faster SSD in higher end PCs and laptops, but the stream is limited in the fact that it only has, and I don't know if you can see this because I can't see it on the screen, an Intel Celeron N3060 at 1.6 gigahertz. It does go faster. It has burst, but it's a 2-core socket. Sorry, CPU. It's a 2-core CPU that has Hyper-V support. 112 kilobytes of level 1 cache and 2 megabytes of level 2 cache. It's a much older Celeron. Works well with Windows 10. Works excellent with Linux. I've installed Pop! OS. We're not going to be covering Pop! OS in this video at all. Basically, I am going to take you through how, when you start installing anything onto this PC from completely empty drives, that you don't get caught in the issues that I got caught in for over a month. I have been fighting with this system since I started the upgrade, and it really was a very simple mistake that caused me all that issue that I missed at the beginning. But we'll take you through and look and show you the hardware. So we've added 8 gigabytes of DDR3, which stock is 4 gigabytes. One slot is used. It's a SODIMM. It's showing at, I can't see, I don't have my proper glasses on, 1600 megahertz speed. It is DDR3, so this, like I said, this is an older system that comes normally with a 32 gigabyte eMMC, which is the equivalent of having an SD card on your motherboard, and is dog slow. So what we now have is the Patriot M.2 P310 480 gigabyte, and the space that's available now for storage is amazing. Windows 10, not even without all of the full updates in on the SSD, is well over 42 gigabytes of storage required. Stock, it only comes with 32 gigabytes. You are SOL if you want to continue on Windows 10 or even move to Windows 11. So this is the first disk, and it's listed as C, disk 0, the Patriot M.2. So I am booting from the M.2. And you will notice disk D and E, which is the 32 gigabyte eMMC, lists as an SD card, as it is a Samsung based eMMC and is dog slow. So D is actually where I have I will show this later, but where I have Duet with rEFInd placed to do the boot. E is basically just formatted storage. 26 gigabytes of fat 32 storage. I'm sorry, no, 29.1 is reported. 29.1 gigabytes is reported capacity. Down here, reported and formatted. 3 gigabytes, which I can make it smaller with a tool like Mini Tool Partition. Anyways, that's for later and for you to discover on your own. But D is actually the boot drive. It's reporting in Windows as D, but it is actually C if you were to use a stock setup, which is the 32 gigabyte eMMC. So Wi-Fi is now handled by a USB TP-Link AC600 Nano. It's a low profile Wi-Fi and Bluetooth adapter. So it just lives happily in the USB port and is low profile, so it shouldn't take too much damage, I hope. Can be removed for when you're putting it into a backpack or a sleeve or whatever, and then placed in a pocket, which you might want to get a USB cover if you're doing such a thing. But we'll go over to the GPU, and it's an Intel HD Graphics 400. Nothing impressive. It actually just uses some of the built-in 8 gigabytes of memory is shared with the GPU. It's not a powerful game player at all. This is a productivity machine and a web surfer at best. So it's on par with, let's say, a Chromebook in stock configuration. It's a little better than a Chromebook in this configuration. But what we'll do is we'll go into Explorer and I'll show you how everything shows. And as you can see, 412 gigabytes free of 446. And we'll go to Properties. Look at that room that's available. So 33 right now. You only have, it's only sold as a 32 gigabyte. And at the moment, I mean, it's been running through some of the updates and stuff. It has 33.4 gigabytes of data on the hard drive. You could not do this with the eMMC. I still have to do the updates on this. I haven't done them. That's going to blow it out of the water. But you have 412 gigabytes free now. Plus, here is the boot. Here is the boot drive. And here is my storage. So I have 26 gigabytes free of basically like an SD card plugged into the slot with no SD card. You can just store things on there that you want, pictures and files and Word documents if you want, without taking up storage on the C drive. It's just kind of a storage container. Being that it's the equivalent of an SD, treat it as such. So it actually boots the system into Windows. You have lots of room now available for adding games if you want. I don't know what games you're going to run. I don't run games on mine. But whatever you happen to want to do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to shut down now. And I'm going to remove absolutely everything from all the drives so that I'm in the same position that you will be in when starting. So this is my Windows 10 install USB. So we're going to put it in because I'm going to do a quick and dirty formatting of, well, just deleting partitions and all. So we're going to leave both drives as unallocated space, and that's where you're starting from if you do the upgrade. and you're going to see the boot process. So this is Duet with rEFInd. You have the Windows install and you have the thumb drive. It looks like a USB. So we're just going to select, it reports as boot fallback bootloader from ESDISO, which that is the thumb drive for Windows 10. So we will boot from there. Select custom install, and you will notice that I have the disk drive named Duet UEFI, which is the 3 GB partition on the 29.1 GB eMMC. But we are going to wipe out Windows included. So I am starting just like you after installing all of the new hardware. Unallocated space. And I'm going to take you through setting up the thumb drive for the Duet with rEFInd. I'm not going to take you through the Windows thumb drive setup. You can do that on your own. There are hundreds and thousands of videos on how to make a bootable thumb drive for installing Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows 8, whatever you happen to want, using the media creation tool from Microsoft, using Rufus. So this is all NVMe SSD. As unpartitioned space, which is drive 0, so we'll remove the recovery. Okay, we are going to remove the, oh, I can't delete it. Oh, I did, sorry, I did delete it. It's unpartitioned space. I'm not paying attention. So we have a 447.1 GB NVMe SSD, 29.1 GB eMMC. So let us exit out of the Windows install. There is nothing on any hard drive anywhere. I will let it reboot. I've taken my thumb, focus please. I've taken my thumb drive out, and it reports, please install an operating system on your hard disk. Hard disk, bracket 3FO, bracket, F2 system diagnostics. Boot device not found. So, and it gives you a link to the HP Tech Center. So, in effect, this laptop is dead. It has no operating system, no booting ability. So we're going to turn this off, and I'm going to go over to my main PC, and I'm going to show you how to set up a thumb drive for Duet with rEFInd that's going to allow you to boot to the NVMe once things get going. So I will see you in a second. Okay, we're back, and we are in my other PC where I'm going to show you how to set up a thumb drive that is going to have Duet with rEFInd that will allow you to boot. It's also going to allow you to copy a folder from this thumb drive once everything is running to allow the laptop to boot without having to have this in with you at all times. It will boot from the eMMC and into Windows on the NVMe. This will no longer be required once you're done. But how do we set it up? Well, we're going to use a file that you can find. I got the links from Tundra Time. He has links to a drive, but you will find it on message boards. Just make sure if you have an HP stream that is after, I believe, 2016, which mine is a 2017 model. I use the Duet with rEFInd 2020 version. There is also a 2015 version, and it's usually for older hardware. But this is going to give you a bootable USB drive. Sorry, we have to get in here. Gotta make these icons bigger so you can see. View. Large icons. Okay. USB setup is what you're looking for. This is a very easy program to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in this thumb drive into my PC now. Excuse the squeaking chair, by the way. And me having the... There. So, the drive is now showing in Explorer. We're going to open up the USB setup utility. It's going to ask, do you want to allow? Yes. So here is the USB setup utility. Our drive letter is G, so we've selected G. Well, it's the only available. And what you're going to do is make sure you're using a thumb drive that you don't want to lose data. Get that data off that thumb drive. Back it up. Just get it, because it's going to clean and format the drive and put it into a bootable state. So we are going to clean the drive, which means it's removing all partitions. There, it gives you the warning. The files on selected drive will be deleted. This command is irreversible. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. It even asks you again, clean the partition. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. It is now cleaning the drive, removing all partitions, any labels. So the volume is going to be blank. Clean is successful. Next, you're going to format the drive, which it's going to format it into FAT32. But again, it's going to warn you. Do you want to proceed? Because anything that was on there is going to be lost. You will not be able to recover. Takes a couple seconds. Format is successful. Now we're going to turn it into boot. Okay, so it's going to master boot record, selected drive, write Duet customized MBR on the selected drive. Yes. Again, it asks you, it always double checks. It says wait. Done. MBR write successful. This is now a bootable thumb drive. However, there's no files in here. We have to copy. Duet. Copy the selected drive required, which is taken from up here. Yes. Duet copy is successful. Now we have to copy over the rEFInd files. Copy. Copy the selected Drive the required files? Yes. Copy successful. Everything is on the drive, and it now reports with a name of UEFI_Duet. Okay, we can close this out. Now I urge you, one thing to check before you proceed. Go into that drive, and it has I believe this is a configuration file and an EFI file. Sorry, folder. Go into the EFI folder. Go into the boot folder. Go into the drivers folder. There are no drivers. Drivers do not automatically move over, and I did not know this a month ago. I've been using this drive without drivers. So we are going to go back into where I have this, which is in downloads, Duet with rEFInd 2020, and we are going to go into, I believe it is the Duet, yeah, EFI drivers. There are the drivers you need. Basically select them all. You are going to copy, and you are going to go back to your thumb drive, go into the EFI file, boot, and then drivers, which is empty, and you are going to paste those drivers there. This drive is now fully bootable, and it will automatically boot to your NVMe now, because it comes with NVMe Express DEX EFI, which I can't explain it because I don't know the breakdown, but these are needed for your system to boot into Windows. Windows Install can see the NVMe drive because there's drivers in your install. However, there are no native drivers in your laptop at the moment. So once you are done with your install, there's no way to see into the NVMe drive unless you have these drivers in their proper place on the thumb drive. This really surprised me. I didn't know. Okay, let me take this out. So here is the thumb drive, and we are going to go back to the laptop, and we're going to boot and start the install. I am taking you through the processes. I will speed up the boring parts, but this is what I did not see in any of the videos that are online for doing the update on the stream. You need to have all of the information in order to complete your upgrade successfully. So we will be back with the laptop in just a second. Okay, we're back to the laptop with our formatted and set up Duet with rEFInd USB bootable and our install USB that has Windows 10 on it. And as I said, I'm not taking you through how to set this up, but this can be found online in many YouTube videos on how to do it with the Microsoft Media Creation tool, with Rufus, any other application that you happen to use. But we are going to start by putting the rEFInd, or sorry, Duet with rEFInd, I keep wanting to say rEFInd first, Duet with rEFInd into the USB 2.0 port, which is the furthest port away from the HDMI port. You have, on a Stream 14, you have 3 USB ports on the side. 2 of them are 3.0, 1 of them is 2.0. So you have a 3.0, a 3.0, a 2.0, moving away from the HDMI. Duet with rEFInd likes USB 2.0, is comfortable in it. So that's where we're going to start. We will plug that into the laptop and we are going to boot. And as it comes up, I'm just going to check its boot order by tapping F9. Change the boot order. So USB hard drive, Lexar USB flash drive. This is what we're going to boot from. Here it comes. Now, it has a 5-second limit. Move the mouse or touch any key to stop that timer, because it will automatically attempt to boot. But there's nothing in the system, as you remember. So we are now going to take the Windows 10 install USB and we are going to put it into the USB 3.0 right next to the HDMI. Also, have your Wi-Fi adapter in for install. It makes it much easier. There will be a driver that will install. It'll update after, but it will allow you to get online early. Unless you want to do a local account, I'm not gonna say which is better to do. You make up your own mind. I however do the online account. So we are going to start by putting in that drive. So Windows is now in, and we're going to hit escape to update the screen, and you're going to see the bootable media appear. There it is. Boot fallback bootloader from ESDISO. So that's the Windows 10 installation. So just either click it with your mouse, hit enter, we'll click it with the mouse, and it's going to boot into the install. We're going to do the install process. Now, you're not going to sit here with me rambling as it does. I'm going to speed the video up. And I'm going to get you past the first reboot, which is where I got stuck for the longest time. And I'm going to have a picture up of where I got stuck at the blue screen of recovery. It's not death, it's just the blue screen of recovery, because without the Windows thumb drive installed, there's no drivers to see the NVMe, so of course Windows Install couldn't find it. It installed perfectly fine because it can see it with the drivers. So English, US, next. Okay, install now, set up the starting. Sorry if you're hearing me drink. Having my lovely coffee. Please make sure you enjoy coffee or a juice or a beverage of some sort while you're doing your installs. Please always stay calm. Don't be like me, losing your crap every time something goes wrong. Keep it together if you can. I tend to be very bad that way. I don't fully read things. So we will accept the license terms, and we will move to the next. We are going to accept a custom install of Windows Advanced. We are going to ignore the eMMC. We are installing nothing. It is going to sit as unallocated space. Okay, we select. Now, many people will just click next. I don't know why I do it. I always click new and apply, so it formats the drive and puts folders in like it's supposed to. So the folders are there, the system folder, the MSR reserved, and the primary. So now we can click next and start the install. And I'm going to speed it. You're going to stay with me, but I'm going to speed this up. So it is now finishing up. And it wants to reboot, so we are going to remove the Windows install USB disk only. It is out. Windows USB disk out. We're going to let it reboot all on its own. I'm not going to interact with it. Again, it's going to boot from the thumb drive. So there is the Windows install. I'll move the so it sees it on the NVMe. So what we will do is normally you would just let it start by itself after 5 seconds, but I will start the EFI shell, which is the script that runs afterward, after the 5 seconds. So there it is. After 5 seconds, it's going to run, and it booted. So Windows is now going to continue its install. And I believe before I get to the data entry screen, so there's starting services. Getting ready is going to appear. Yeah, getting devices ready. I think it reboots one more time before I get to the data entry screen. If I remember correctly. I don't know. We'll find out. And remember, there is nothing at this moment on the 32 gigabyte eMMC drive. The only thing that's running the show is the Duet with rEFInd and the files that are now on the NVMe SSD. Okay, so you're going to see an actual official reboot. I'm not going to interact with the laptop at all. It's just going to continue on all on its own. So there's rEFInd. It's automatic boot in 3, 2, 1. There's the script. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to the Windows. So it automatically does the booting. All of these boring bits I will skip through. Not by cutting, but by speeding the playback.
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to
you can
help.
shut Cortana up.
A little sign in here.
I'm going to speed this portion up too. And we're back. So let me just put this aside here. So, what we're going to do now is very quick and dirty. We are going to add the EFI folder from the thumb drive, which is UEFI Duet, to because we're only showing at the moment 2 drives. So we have to put it onto the 32 gigabyte eMMC. So we're going to open up, close that, Explorer, and we are going to open up disk management. So now you can see 446.48 gigabytes is the NVMe drive, where NTFS file system where Windows lives. It has a recovery partition, an EFI system partition. We have the 32 gigabyte drive, which is unallocated space at the moment. So we have to right click, create a new symbol volume, just as is, whatever drive letter it is, because it's going to change after we remove the thumb drive. We don't want it as NTFS, we want it all as FAT32. Okay, and we can even call the drive, or we can even call the drive letter UEFI underscore GUET, Duet. So that's its volume label, so we'll know, because later on you're going to hide this, and you can find that video online, so this won't show up. But you're also going to use like mini partition tool. And before you even do this, I'm just giving you the basic walkthrough. I'll fix this up later. But you're going to want it as small as possible to leave you with as much storage space. So, FAT32, default allocation unit size, volume label, name it whatever you want. You're going to hide it later anyways. Next, and finish. And it'll report now that there's a drive there. UEFI. Oh, sorry about that. There is a driver installing, which was the video driver or display driver. Anyways, so now we're going to right click and we are going to shrink the volume. Have I forgotten what I'm doing? Okay. I'll do a voiceover for this part. But now we have two volumes. One that is 512 megabytes and one that is 28.62 gigabytes of space. So I have two more drives in Explorer. And they will show up as UEFI Duet, which is our boot thumb drive. We have our new volume, which is 507 megabytes. So what we are going to do is go into our thumb drive. We're going to select the folder, EFI. We are going to right click it and copy. We are going to go up and we find our small little partition. Go in. We're going to right click and paste. Everything is in there, so now let's go in to the folder, into the boot, into the drivers. Our drivers are there. We are good to go. Double check this to make sure that you actually have your files and folders. Okay, so we are now back. We have a C drive, 421 gigabytes free. We have our thumb drive, which we are now going to eject. We don't need it anymore because we have everything we need on there. Sorry, I messed up with the formatting of the drives. Eject. Safe to remove the hardware. We now have only 3 drives. Our boot drive, our storage drive, and our Z drive. So we take the thumb drive out because we no longer need it. This can now be reformatted and used as storage. So we will close the Explorer and we will reboot. And I'm going to be looking at our boot order with F9 on the HP. Once it reboots, must have been in the middle of an update. Anyways, here it comes. So we are going to F9. And you will now notice EFI embedded MMC and the number of our eMMC now has an EFI bootable folder. So that is what we are going to boot from. Just let it auto go. It's going to select Windows automatically. Let the script run. And we are booted into the C drive. So from here, now one thing you want to do is you want to hide, and you can find out how to do that online. There are ways of removing the drive letters so it becomes like a system partition and is invisible so that you can't go in and accidentally delete the EFI. So let's put our pin in. There is no thumb drive. Like I said, I have both thumb drives here. They were out of the system. It is booting all on its own. And that didn't take long. That is much faster than it used to be. Again, I'll take you into the Explorer and show you the drives. And they're there. So you have C drive, E drive, F drive. Now you can go in after disk management and you can change the drive letters to D and E, which I will show you. Well, you can figure out how to do that after. And like I said, you are going to want to hide your very small boot partition. That you want to remove the drive letter, and as I said, you can find out how to do that online. There are lots of videos on how to assign drive letters for when you're fixing. You can have system partitions all of a sudden show up as actual drives and then later hide them again. Pardon me. So I hope this helps and gets you through problems that I had keeping me doing this for over a month. So this was completely, the install process was completely uncut, which nobody before has shown the entire process and surviving the first boot, which is what kept me working away at this for a month. But it is now booting. It's a little bit quicker. It's no beast, but it's a productivity machine now, for sure. You can do whatever you want with it. I'm sure some people are going to want to game with it. You're going to want to use older games. You're also not going to want to even attempt to do AAA, where you need high graphics, but it's still a very usable and wonderful little laptop. So we will just shut this down, and I hope this helps. Leave a comment below. I will try and answer all your questions. I can't offer a lot of support. I'm going to leave links to a Facebook group who was very, very helpful, who are Pop! OS based, Linux, very patient with a dummy like me. Have an incredibly good amount of information available. If you want to do the Pop! OS route, they can help you. But this gets you going on Windows, which is the reason why you did the upgrade in the first place, because of the fact that Windows 10 can no longer live on a 32 gigabyte eMMC. You need space, so it does work. Anyways, like I said, like the video if you like it, leave a comment below. Anyways, I hope it helps. Thanks, guys.